Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Four Brain Podcast. I'm Somil.
And I'm Ali. Welcome. So today we're going to talk about what role humans play in the agentic world. Somil, I'm quite bullish about the role of agents. I actually think we will have a lot of agentic operations. It's inevitable to have those agents in operations. Companies will use them at massive scale in the future, and it will change how fundamentally companies evolve and grow and develop. So it basically, to me, AI is creating the next generation of most valuable companies in the world that can create significant economical growth. But if we go get to big picture, let's maybe think about what kind of value creations we could expect from agents. What's your view of that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think we have to be bullish because when do we call something as a revolution? When the boost or the improvement or in yield is is exponentially higher or as a factor higher. And I think that's what we are seeing here compared to the industrial economy, and then we have the internet economy, and now we have the agentic economy. Now I think we really see that the amount of value that we can create by creating very customized, standardized, personalized offerings and deliveries and services, I do really see a tremendous value multiplication happening because of agents. Because for one thing, I remember this book, Prediction Machines, by Dr. Ajay Agrawal, and he says from economic perspective, what AI has done is it has significantly brought down the cost of decision making. And when that happens, when the cost of something goes down, then you do more of it. So there's higher demand for decisions, right? And initially people think, okay, but I'm already making decisions. How do I make more decisions than what I'm doing? So the way to look at it is that today, for example, I'm making one decision for 100 or 1000 customers. That's my classic market segmentation. But now with AI and agents, I can make hundreds, thousands of decisions, multiple decisions per customer, each of them very much tailored, to that particular person and that context. And that makes, from their perspective, it makes my offering more valuable. So the reason I'm more likely to get an Uber compared to some other taxi services, because I can get Uber where I want, where I am at that moment. I think that's one value, one kind of factor. I think the second factor is, of course, the automation, that agents can take over many of these repetitive, mundane tasks, and then humans can really focus on creativity and innovation. And what drives that really is the data that we are collecting now. So the data that we have collected over the last 10-15 years, that I think that has now started to pay dividends. And agents for me is just like a latest reincarnation of that data, or the insights that we are creating. It's just a different way of leveraging it and using it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, and I think the main point is that now, if you look at the statistics, we talked about it before as well. Like 80% of people are doing reactive work right now in the companies, and the more and more the clock speed of a company goes up, the faster they become, the faster they need, the bigger they become. The amount of those firefighting, repetitive tasks, reactive tasks that you need to do, or reactive decisions, micro decisions you need to make, is going to skyrocket. And that's where agents are fantastic value creation machines, because they could basically create different kinds of decision mechanisms. They can take care of maybe 80% of that problem for you, so you can focus on more proactive things. and so on. I think the other aspect of it is to think of it as one level in the machinery, right? The machinery used to be humans carry everything around, then they got horses, then they got machines to replace horses. So horses were actually freed in some sense. Then we go to computers that basically carry the information, help us process it in a bigger picture, summarize it for us. We're now taking one step further and saying, like, not only computers, the AI models will take part of that understanding of what the summary of that result of that computation is for us and make it easy to understand, human readable at one sense. And then the other side is like, maybe there are decisions that we don't have to make, they can make for us, or actions that we don't have to make, they can make for us. So that's where the key value creation mechanism for agents are. The other aspect to think about is the impact of them on economy and how from economics perspective we should think about it. I don't want to go in too much details. Maybe it warrants a separate episode to go deeper into why you and I are very bullish on this, why we think actually everybody should go towards agentic operations and having deploying agents. But in summary, as a teaser for the next one, maybe, what do you think?
Yeah, I think one
What is the
one line.
framework of economy there?
Yeah, one line. If I have to explain this, I would say, listen, I would say, in the industrial economy, there's always a concept of substitution. When you replace, when you bring in technology and then takes away a person, and then you are seeing a substitution, and then that's where the fear of maybe job loss, or someone says, okay, I'm going to lose my job, and there was a lot of fear and panic about it. But now we're living in a knowledge and network economy where there's a network of 7-8 billion people now, and let's say we have 100 times more agents. So the value creation has gonna increase exponentially, but that value is divided over the same 7 or 8 billion people. And what that tells me is that when I do that, of course the job might change, the description might change, but in the end all of us gonna reap the benefit of that, because the value is only the value is scaling, but it's only so many people to take, or the number of beneficiaries are not increasing. That's my reason to be bullish, and I think we should cover this in a separate topic, because I think it's very
Yeah,
important to understand the principles that we have been taught about, that we have learned. They no longer apply. So we have to learn new economic principles, and every company has to, or every person has to learn this.
exactly. And to me, I think whenever there's these technological shifts coming, everybody panics. It was, oh, it's going to take jobs, replacing people, and so on. But seriously, because it is because of technology that we all are way better off than 100 years ago.
Yes.
There's no way you could say that we're living in a worse society than 100 years ago, both from an
Absolutely.
economic perspective, wealth perspective, and so on. So it is the same thing. We just need to accept it, drive it the right way. It is scary, but and people get scared, but it will change the economy. You just reminded me of a funny story. There is this comedian in the US, Jay Leno. He's famous for loving cars, especially combustion engine cars. So when people talked about electrification and so on, his view was like, my view is cars saved horses. Horses are much happier because they can just run around, enjoy themselves, and don't have to carry people or carry huge amounts of load. Cars saved horses. So sometimes the thing that is being replaced doesn't mind being replaced because they don't like the thing that they're doing. And it was actually saying, like, now the electric cars are saving the cars that I love, because otherwise people would kill them. This is how I see it. Like, maybe sometimes taking over some of the tasks that someone is doing is not the worst thing they could do, because usually the things that get automated first are the really boring, repetitive stuff. I was listening to Andreessen Horowitz the other day, and they have this article called "Death of a Salesforce," and they're talking about like how AI takes people from following processes, trying to do all the tedious tasks of prospecting, finding people, doing this and that, to selling. People can focus on selling, but AI can do all the process follow-ups and all of that for them, which is fantastic. So that's how I see it. And then that opens up another topic that I want your opinion on, and that's human agent collaboration.
Yeah,
Where
I was just
does
coming to that. I was just coming to that because I think that the sales is a great example there. Because so I've been in sales, so there are things that you want to do, and there are things that you have to do, and there is very clear, kind of, and there are things that you have to do to get to be really good at the things that you want to do. So the things that you really have to do but you don't like anymore is basically all the boring reporting and going through all the details and data and things like this. I mean, yes, it is important to report. It's very important to get an insight of where it is, but I would rather have somebody else do it. I don't really care about that. The thing that I really wanted to do or still want to do is to see how can I help my customer. How can I basically come up with innovative solutions? How can I understand their problem better? How can I basically suggest a way forward? How do I get them unstuck? That has always kind of what dominated my mind, and everything else was a distraction. And now, in order to do that in a good way, in an effective way, I really needed to be very strong in my research. That means I would go for go read the annual reports, understand what is it that what are the problems that they're looking at a macro level. I would go talk to people. I would look into the kind of people that they've been hiring, the kind of products that they've been marketing, what their customers have been doing. So that was the part that you have to go through so that I could help my customers better. So that's where I think agents and AI can really become a lifesaver, because one, it can do all the boring stuff of reporting and putting together reports, analytics that I don't really want to do, and it could also help me do the exciting stuff. It can give me all the intelligence that I need in a very very short period of time, that I can really put my brains in working. Because what I love the most is to work with my team internally and say, okay, so this is the customer, this is their problem, this is their unique circumstances. What kind of solutions can we provide to them? Or how can we change our product? Or what else can we do for them to help them, right? I think that is because that gave the most value for the customer. It's not the product that we offer,
Mhm.
it's the solution that they receive, and there's a big difference between these two. So this is one example where I see collaboration between agents and humans. And even today, like we often discuss things with our friend ChatGPT, because sometimes you have a lot of ideas. All you need is someone who just structure them into a logical flow, and that helps you get an insight. So I really don't see like this as an either or combination. I think it's gonna be, again, as people say, is people who are comfortable working alongside agents and people who are not. And I think the people who are
Yeah,
not comfortable, we need to build a ramp for them so that they can usually, because I think a lot of people, they find the whole change, the rate of change, very very intimidating, and that's fair. And it becomes scary, even for someone like us who are in the mix. Even for us, sometimes it becomes overwhelming, because there's so many things that you don't know about. I think, but it's more about getting people comfortable. It's AI is a new idea, agent is a even new idea. There are very few people who know what they're doing, and there's
yeah,
a lot of fear mongering going on.
exactly. And but I think you mentioned a very interesting example. So what I like to do, and I would say my superpower is to just generate random ideas all the time, random new ideas all the time. What I find very boring is documenting them, expanding them, and explaining them. And I've realized that a GPT model is perfect for that. You just basically give it all the random ideas. You don't even have to be coherent in your sentences, and you just come up with this like fancy way of explaining it. And that's
Yeah.
perfect, because then I don't have to spend time on basically properly document my ideas. It's just like, okay, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, oh, cool. Here's a 5-paragraph text about what I was trying to say. And then you can edit it and then make it much easier to. So, but basically, in summary, humans bring the creativity, maybe the causality thinking, because I don't think the causality is there yet in agents. They're still looking at correlation, but also things like strategic thinking, empathy for humans. Agents are very funny. The way they're like, if you look at how ChatGPT or GPTs in general behave, they're like yes mans or dogs who want to really please everyone. So they always turn the conversation into something that to make you happy, right? Which is an interesting thing, but that's not the most creative way of dealing with this. There is a very fun example in a podcast, Shell Game, when Evan Ratcliffe has two of his own agents with his own voice and his own personality talking to each other, and he tells them, you know what? You just had a fight and you're really upset at each other. Start talking. And then no matter what he did, in the third or fourth sentence, they make it up and they're happy. They can't really argue with each other.
Yeah,
And that's a funny thing.
Yeah.
So that's where we bring this, like there's still nuances in humanity that the way we work, like being upset or shouting at people, because these models don't have those kind of emotions, right? They're just trying to predict what a human would say or do.
Yes.
So that's where it still exists, and that's an interesting. So, but speaking of proactivity, could you expand a bit further on what kind of proactive human roles do we see in agentic world?
Absolutely. I think this is a kind of a reflection on what you said. Yeah, I mean, agents can't stay mad at you forever. You know, I think they really love you, and they really want to please and basically do that, and that kind of also makes them a little bit frustrating to work with at times, because you really want a counter argument, not not always praise for your the
Yeah,
intelligence that you
exactly.
possess.
I'm not the U.S. president. Don't say yes to me all the time,
Yes.
right? Or I want an agent sometimes that doesn't have a dog personality. I want an agent with a cat personality.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I think one, so 2 points I think that come to my mind from when you talk of proactive, work. So I think first one is, what kind of role can humans find for themselves when AI takes over most of the boring stuff that they do today? I think that's an unfortunate question that an agent cannot answer. Humans have to answer that, and I basically think things like ethics, things like relationships, things like sustainability, in environment. I think a lot of the human conversation, agents are really bad at reading between the lines, and I would say 99% of the human conversation is between the lines. So you really need someone to kind of interpret, translate human to an agent, like what is this person actually mean. I think that put that in the ethical kind of context, or responsible context. I think that's one thing. Second thing is, I like to drive progress, because we cannot be satisfied by doing where we are. Of course, you need to hit. There's always this equilibrium between the growth and stability. You have that, otherwise, you will go crazy. So there is a stability, but you also need to have this learning, adaptability, reskilling. You also need to test new ideas. I think that's where humans really shine, because we come up with some really random things. I mean, when you're in the shower, when you're just getting out of bed, and you want to try that. I think one thing that will agent really enable is ability to try new ideas, try new things. So that's one part which I think if you put them together, then I think agents can give humans really powerful tools that can drive innovation, that can drive creativity, and that can also kind of create prosperity for everyone. Because let's say when someone benefited Uber, everybody benefited. When someone invented Airbnb, everybody benefited. So I think that we can see a lot more innovation coming our way, and I really think it's not gonna be large enterprises who will be driving innovation. It will be small companies, or it will be individuals. And one reflection I just had is that if I remember, like 20 years ago, it was not very common for extraordinary people to really start out on their own, become advisors, become entrepreneurs. They really wanted to do really well, and in an enterprise setup, they really wanted to do something great for their company. And I think over 20 years, I really see that ethos has changed quite a lot. So people now see, okay, I can create more value. Why should I stay within one organization boundary if I have the I think that's agents will foster that. And if I make a very crazy prediction, I'll say in 20 years from now, I don't think anyone would be working in a job kind of a setup anymore. You'll be much more comfortable, because one reason is it comes to with comes to the equity, and what share of value do organizations share with their employees. I think if organizations skimp out on that, if they don't really treat their employees as valuable partners, they will leave. And the second is, from a people perspective, they could see, okay, I can help maybe 10, 15 different organizations or people, then why should I really stay within that one brand or one umbrella? So I really think it can drive very lot of cultural changes as well when it comes to proactive work, and proactivity in general.
Yeah, I'm gonna reference another movie, the Disney Pixar movie Wall-E. I think the extreme is that all the economy is handled by AI and robots, and we just become all fat consumers, just sitting down, watching things and consuming. And the whole economy is driven by these agents. I don't think that's probably the case. Nobody's going to be happy with that. But at all of that joke aside, I think the what it enables is that by having this massive amount of value created at a lot less effort, our economies can afford to put a lot more into welfare programs, supporting humans, supporting people, and being able to really build in a bigger picture. But that's going to the economic aspect is for another episode, because that in itself is a big topic. It's not about just zero sum games in this here. There's a lot of other things that we could think about. Maybe we should actually wrap it up for this one.
Yeah.
So if you want to summarize, what are the takeaways for people?
Yeah. I think what we started with is that let me first reflect on the comment that you made on Wally. I think agents running the world is inevitable, but being a passive consumers on the couch, I think that is a choice that
Well put.
you have to make, right? Or what you said, you have to find proactive work for you. So I agree with you that agents will take over operation. I think that's something that we can see already, and we looked at a lot of different examples of that. We saw that agents could be very high value creators in both helping in innovation, but also driving automation and getting rid of all the redundant repetitive work. Agents can drive tremendous economic growth potential by reducing inefficiencies, but also creating the jobs, making the whole economy more vibrant and more responsive. We spoke about collaboration between humans and agents, and we saw how can agents help you get rid of basically all the stuff that you have to do but you don't like, and also help you with the stuff that you have to do so that you can do great job. And then it's more about once agents take over a significant portion of your job, what do you do then? Do you play Candy Crush, or do you go out and find yourself a purpose? So I really believe that agents can help us become more purpose driven, provided we are willing to go out there and do the job. And
Yeah.
that's the part that agents cannot answer. That's we have to find answer for that question.
Yeah, and I think what for my final comment is that the same way as maybe even slightly pre-industrial revolution or during the industrial revolution, we could not imagine that the ratio of desk jobs to factory jobs or blue collar jobs to be this high by now. I don't think we can imagine what kind of jobs humans will have in 20, 50 years from now. The definition of going to work would be very, very different. Maybe that's another interesting discussion to be had, and start dreaming and see who's dreaming best in the world. But that's why I see it as this. There would be new things that we will do. Most likely, none of us know what they are yet. But what I know is that there's a lot of stuff, that a lot of crap that we don't want to do, and then we can give them to the agents to do. So let's just do that first. So with that, I suggest we wrap it up. Thanks for the discussion. Thanks for listening to us and tuning in. Next time we will expand a bit more on the economic aspects. What does it mean? Maybe an extension of this one. So stay tuned on to the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.